I'm gonna give you guys some tips on talent. So talent is definitely one of my favorite parts of competition. For my talent, I perform classical ballet and I have been dancing for 14 years, but I also have experience with lots of different, with performance of lots of other styles of dance, and I also do solo piano performances. So I just have a couple tips that I'd like to give you guys about your talent. So number one, you can never ever practice too much. So I think this is my biggest tip for talent. And my ballet teacher who coached me for the Esmeralda variation would always say that if I want to perform at 100%, you have to practice at 110%. And I think that's really true. And I think it shows when you're watching a pageant, it shows who has really put in the time to perfect their talent. And even if it's not, even if you haven't been dancing for 14 years, if you've been dancing for 3 years, if you are doing, you know, not everyone is at the same stage in their development of a talent, but you can still have an amazing performance no matter how much time, how many years of your life you've been doing something. It's really just about having a good, solid preparation. Perfect. Sometimes it feels like you might start to get bored of your routine, but there's always so many, you know, nuances and things that you can truly perfect to make you, to help yourself have the best performance possible. So I would just say practice like crazy, especially now that we have the time off, because there's something that feels so good about performing when you're really prepared. So that is number one. I mean, if you can, I know for me, I started preparing talent on my own individually, and then I decided to reach out to one of my ballet teachers, and she really helped me so much in the preparation. So if you have leaders or mentors, even if you sing, you don't have a singing teacher and you sing by yourself, I would recommend you know, reaching out to your music teacher at school. You don't have to pay someone for private lessons, but definitely having those mentors to help coach you is really important. And if you're, oh wait, that's a tip I'll say later. So definitely having those mentors is really important. Next tip is you can also never be too prepared, and you should really prepare for the worst. So like if you're a dancer, making sure you know, you have extra point shoes or extra, you know, band-aids, bobby pins. You don't want anything to happen backstage that could mess up your talent on stage, if that makes any sense. So like if you forgot the bobby pins, if you forgot a shoe, like if you're at a toe pad, you always want to be prepared, have extras, make yourself a list of everything you need to pack, because I think talent especially, you can never ever be too prepared. And also if you're a dancer, make sure you allow yourself time to warm up, even if that means you know, do some jumping jacks backstage at the beginning of the show, even though your talent isn't until the beginning. Just make sure once we start to know the schedule that you prepare yourself to be fully warmed up. And if you play the piano, you know, do finger warm exercises to warm up, whatever instrument you play, warm up however you need to, warm up your voice if you're a singer, but just truly preparing yourself to have the best performance possible is so important. Okay, next tip, and I learned this last year when I wore a giant pancake tutu, and I didn't practice in it until like a week before, but really no matter what your costume is, whether you're wearing a gown while you're playing piano, or a cute dress while playing the flute, or whatever it is, you should really practice in your costume, and practice walking on stage. If you play the piano, you know, draping your skirt over, or, you know, adjusting the chair. Practice all those little things practice how it will be in the performance, especially as it gets down closer to the pageant. I really wish that I had practiced more in my tutu, because it feels different when you're dancing, or if you're wearing like a skirt or like some booty shorts. Just like, I would recommend, not every time, but definitely practice in your costume, and practice, you know, walking on stage, walking off stage, curtsying, bowing. Don't allow anything to be a surprise when you're performing on stage. You want to be fully 100% prepared. Okay, so this one, it's not really a tip, and I don't know how to explain it other than saying that when you are really prepared for your talent, you want the audience to feel like you are a breath of fresh air. It sounds kind of cheesy and kind of like frou-frou, but really after I've watched I'm sure many of you have too, a lot of pageants, a lot of, the national competition on TV. I've seen so many dance performances, and I think that what makes a performance stand out is when you are so prepared, whether it's the most talented person doing crazy tricks or someone who, is doing a more simple, modern or lyrical routine or a fun jazz routine. When someone is prepared, it just feels like you can sit back and truly enjoy watching them as an audience member. And I don't know how else to describe it other than like, you don't want the audience to be worried about you tripping or messing up or falling, and those things really, or playing the wrong note, and those things really happen when you are not fully prepared. So you might have stutters in your routine or, wrong notes, and that is totally okay. It is okay to make mistakes, but I think that the best performances are ones where you make a mistake and you continue going, but really that you're so prepared that your audience just feels captivated and they want to soak up every bit of your performance. And I remember one of my West Sound directors would always say that she judged a talent on whether she wanted to see it again. So you want to make the audience want to see your talent again. So if you are self-choreographing or picking your own song or, doing it yourself. I know a lot of you guys have like coaches who are helping you, but if you're like I was last year and I was kind of picking things out on my own at first, I would recommend, showing it to your family or your friends and ask them if they have any suggestions, and really like take a video of yourself and say, would I want to watch that again? Like, do everything you can to grip your audience, because you're going to grip the judges with the audience and you're going to make them love your talent that much more. Next tip is to add in little details. So once you feel that you are fully prepared, you know your routine, you know the notes on the piano, whatever it is, I would recommend working on all those little details. So whether it's pausing in the song to look at the judges, or I know for me, I had help with this last year, but my variation was very sassy, and so I would practice kind of like doing shoulder movements and looking at the judges and looking certain ways when I did certain steps. So I think that once you're fully prepared, add in those little things that'll make your performance more interesting. I know Peyton May, if you see her talent at Nationals, she did some cool things with her arms that she was prepared for. I know she practiced like looking around the room while she sang, practice the face you're gonna make. All those little details, when it comes down to it, can really get those extra points that you need for talent. Is practice messing up. I know I did this naturally. I fell several times while practicing last year, but I would say like if you play piano, I keep saying piano, I'm sorry, but like if you play an instrument, make sure when you memorize it that you have like memory stations, so you can always, if you mess up, you can always keep going. You can find those stations and keep going. Or if you're dancing, be prepared. Like if there's, a special trick that you do and you're worried about falling, practice falling or practice standing up off the floor. Just be prepared to make mistakes. And I also just wanted to say that you guys are all so talented. I've seen many of your talents, but don't underestimate what nerves and kind of on-stage anxiety can do. Last year, I really worked myself up so much about talent because I was worried about slipping and getting my leg up high enough and all these things, and I got so anxious that I don't think I was fully satisfied with my performance. And once you've practiced all you can, you need to remind yourself that you're only human and we all make mistakes, and that's okay. I cannot tell you how many times I have made a mistake on stage performing. It is completely okay. Those little mistakes are not something that's going to determine your performance. What's gonna really matter in talent is those things I talked about, being so prepared that you can really feel emotion during your performance and bring in the audience. And if you make a little mistake, you just need to keep going, and don't beat yourself up. I remember last year, bawling after my ballet performance with really no reason other than I made a couple little mistakes and I wasn't happy about it. But everyone makes mistakes, and don't allow those little things to really determine how you feel about your performance, because I think that we're all our worst critics, and it feels so good to be proud of yourself after performance. So don't work yourself up too much. Don't set insane expectations, and also don't make a routine that's, if something is too difficult for you to do off stage, you're not gonna be able to do it on stage, and that's just My piano teacher always says that, like, if it's too hard, if you can't get it perfect when you're practicing it, then you need to pick a different song. So, and I don't mean that in like in a critical way at all, but I just mean make sure that you set yourself up for success. And then if little mistakes happen, there's nothing you can do about it. I mentioned this in my interview video, but I recommend giving yourself a pep talk before you go on stage. You might have friends there doing it for you, but I think generally before talent, people kind of stay reserved into themselves, and that's okay. But just, you know, get yourself ready. You know, I'm gonna play this instrument that I love and I've practiced and I'm fully prepared and I'm so excited to show what this song means to me on stage. Give yourself a pep talk and set yourself up for success. And you guys you're so talented, and I know you're gonna shine on stage. It's just, I think really the most important thing is the preparation.